How you guys doing out there? How's yous doing? Good? Everybody's making me hungry talking about Cajun food. And they're like, you need to come back and go to a crawfish boil. I have not had is it crawfish? Okay. Yeah, that has to be on my bucket list. But it's been wonderful. You're very blessed down here. Okay, we are going to talk in this last talk. I want to give you time for question and answers. So I may skip some parts of this. I do have an activity that I wanted to kind of have you guys talk with each other about. So I'm going to get to that very quickly. But creating a culture of witness is not dependent on one person. It's not dependent on the religion teacher or the catechetical leader or the principal, but it's about you all working together, especially because it's getting harder and harder in our culture to speak a message of hope and healing in the midst of whatever is going on. So I want to share with you a couple of statistics. These are hard because this isn't about numbers. This is about lives. I was watching your news last night and watching the TV, the local news, and the fentanyl crisis that's hitting in this area, and all the unrest that we have in the country and everything. And this statistic is very sobering. It's 7 years old, so it's actually worse now. But this specifically this particular set of statistics is called the death by despair statistics. Okay, this is what's known as death by despair. Between 1999 and 2017, among Americans aged 25 to 64, so between 25 and 64, rates of drug overdose increased fourfold. Rates of suicide increased by almost 40%. Midlife deaths from alcoholic liver disease grew by 40%, and alcohol poisoning deaths rose fourfold. We are literally, as a culture, numbing and drugging ourselves to death. Okay, people are hurting and bleeding out. And so when Pope Francis shared this quote, I think about the context in which we live today. The thing the church needs most today, is the ability to heal wounds and to warm the hearts of the faithful. I see the church as a field hospital after battle. It's useless to ask a seriously injured person if he has high cholesterol and about the level of his blood sugars. You have to heal his wounds. Then we can talk about everything else. Heal the wounds, heal the wounds. So Pope Francis is using this motif of a field hospital for you as teachers and as ministers. You are field hospital workers. Can you imagine the children of this kind of trauma? They are in your classrooms. They are in our churches today. Okay, this is us if we're being honest. Every one of us has been touched by this in some way. So I want you to think about your school and your ministry as a field hospital, and let's look at a real hospital to get some insights as to what people are struggling with. Here we go. it's pretty powerful, isn't it? It's a video clip called The Empathy Connection from Cleveland Clinic. By the way, you can get all of these video clips on YouTube. The clip that I shared earlier, the search, with the earthquake, is from episode 6 of The Search. And if you have formed in your parish or school, you can get it right from there. I think many times people who live and work in the church feel like they cannot bring their whole self and all of their wounds into the church, and yet Jesus shows us a different way. This image is from Mario Minetti. It's called The 5 Wounds of Christ. Christ appeared after the resurrection, his moment of greatest glory, with the wounds still visible, but not removed, which tells us something, that the way in and through the resurrection to glory is through our wounds. And so many of our families, many of our young people today think that they have to be perfect to be Catholic. And really it is in our woundedness where we become perfected. Christ said it is in our weaknesses that we become perfected, because he perfects us. And this is a very countercultural message today for young people, because it's all about survival of the fittest. And one of the things I would encourage you as educators and ministers is to tell your story of faith. And this can be really hard. This is from my book, The Catechist's Backpack. This is a little quote here. Stories help us organize and understand information, but more importantly, they have the capacity to touch the heart. Today's storytelling is finding new expressions to digital and social media, but every one of us has a story of faith as unique as our fingerprints. Jesus told, as a consummate teacher, as rabbi, which is what the disciples called him, the way that he taught was through story. That is why today I did not start with a definition of evangelization and run you through 100 documents on evangelization. I can if you want. I can come back and eat your Cajun food and do that. It's because I told story after story to model what I'm talking about, which is to evangelize in and through our stories today. And you are sharing your stories with each other. There's nothing wrong with sharing quotes from documents and teachings of the church. I do that all the time. But stories are pull strategies. They draw people in, and information is a push strategy. So even when you're sharing in your classroom, don't be afraid to talk about how God has worked in your own life. When our stories and God's stories become my stories, that individual component. So when my story encounters God's story and becomes our story, we begin to see ourselves within the story of salvation history. This is one of the ways that Pope Francis tells the great story. On our lips, the first proclamation must ring out over and over. Jesus Christ loves you. He gave his life to save you, and now he's living at your side every day to enlighten, strengthen, and free you. It's a really powerful message. So my question for you today is, what's your story? Whether you were baptized as a child or joined the church as an adult. Did anyone join the church as an adult and convert into Catholicism? Some of you did. Hands up. Yay, I love seeing our people. Whether you live your faith in quiet or have a great public ministry, you have a story of faith. Whether you have a grade school knowledge of the catechism or a theology degree, you have a story of faith. I created a little handout based on how to tell your story of faith. I will make sure to get it to Chad. It is not the handout that you have in your package. It's a longer handout. It's based on the word story, S-T-O-R-Y. When you give some structure, you look at a trial, something that happened that was hard in your life, when you became open to what God was doing in your life, and then it became a moment of redemption that was really unique. I will make sure that you get that, because it would be very fun for you also as faculty, as staff, to gather together and hear your stories of faith. at your parishes to listen to your stories of faith. That would be something. Your life might be the only gospel that some people will ever read, particularly children. They will never open the scriptures, but they will read the teachings of the church in your life. Now, one day I was working, I do a whole day on story, how to share your story of faith, and I was, at the end of it, I had people share their story of faith. This woman stood up and she was like, "You're making it way too complicated. It needs to be charismatic." And I was like, yes. She's like, "Here's my story in 3 words. I was, God did, I am." And I was like, "You have to give me more than that." She's like, "Oh, I was a mess. Let me tell you about the mess." And she told us what the mess was, and it was bad. You don't have to go into that much detail in your story. You can simply say, before I really understood my faith, I felt really lost. I was in college. I drank too much. That is actually true for me. I'm Irish, and I did do that. And then God came along, and my life changed. And I feel like I'm a new and better person every day. I also don't drink as much. Okay. That's a very simple way of sharing your story, right? It's different. You don't have to share all of your story. That's not all of my story. I was desperate for a child. I wanted to meet somebody, and I kissed a lot of frogs before. That's another story, right? So what I'm going to have you do right now is I'm going to take some time with you. You are going to fill in your story, a little bit of your story of faith. And then you're going to share with each other. And you were like, "Okay, I promised you, I warned you earlier, you had to do activities and exercises." And you've really only prayed together. I mean, I shouldn't say only, because that was amazing. But now this is your moment to evangelize a little bit, sharing your story. You don't have to go into tons of detail. You can keep it very generic.